In today's video, when to bring down calories when you're trying to go from someone like Dan that looked like this to where he got at the end of his transformation like this. And even myself, when I go from looking like this down to getting shredded, when do you adjust the calories? Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's video addresses the idea of calorie adjustments. Now, if you don't even know where to start with calories, I talk about this all the time, but I have a free calculator, ProPhysique.com/calculator. You put in some information there, it's going to give you everything you need to know about where to start with your calories. However, the question then becomes, you're seeing no change. When do you adjust? So let me read you the question. My question is about when to bring down calories. I'm currently 283 pounds, 22 to 25% body fat at 6'1". My weight has been stable for about a week, and I would like to know roughly how much I should start bringing down the carbs and or the fats. I know you mentioned you keep fat at about 25% of total calories. So do I bring them both down or just one of the macros? Thanks in advance. Well, you have the option to bring down none of the macros, okay? So there are two ways that you can adjust your plan. One is by adjusting how much you take in, and the other is by adjusting how much you burn throughout the day, all right? So to create a caloric deficit, basically what we're trying to do is estimate how many calories we are burning throughout the day, and then we're gonna estimate how many calories we are consuming throughout the day, and we're gonna try to create a place where we are burning more than we're taking in. Now, the bad news for those of us here is that if you consume anywhere near where you're burning, you're gonna maintain. Our bodies are homeostasis machines. Our body loves to be stable. So to get things moving, it's gonna require some effort from most of us. And the other thing is, you can be perfect 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. But if on that 6th day, you go off your plan, you can undo all of those 6 perfect days. You can be at 2,000 calories, 2,000 calories, 2,000 calories, 2,000 calories. Meanwhile, you're burning 2,500 calories a day or maybe even 3,000. But if on that 5th or 6th day, you consume 4,000 calories, you automatically restore all the fat loss that you've gone through during that week. And this is typically what happens when people get frustrated. They put in work for 4, 5, 6 days, they step on the scale and they think, okay, it's gonna be down, and it might not be down, it might even be up. But what we don't realize is that the scale does not just reflect body fat. In fact, it reflects mostly water. Think of your body as a sponge. And when you're trying to lose body fat, sometimes we might change our diet. Sometimes the foods that we are gonna ingest are gonna store more water, okay? Even in our digestive system, this is very common with fiber. We also might exercise more, okay? And when you exercise, that creates inflammation. Inflammation stores more water in the body. So you can actually be more muscular, less fat, and the scale can be up, okay? Sore muscles, sore joints, changes in digestive system. These are just a few of the examples. Also, taking in something like sodium can cause a temporary increase in fluid in the body. So the scale is just one of those tools that we use that measures our weight. Weight doesn't necessarily mean body fat. However, over time, we want it to go down. And in that regard, I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I do because I'm starting right now a fat loss phase. I just stepped on the scale, it's right there. I'm gonna keep it so that we can track this. I'm 218.2 pounds. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm wearing clothes. Obviously, you're gonna weigh a little bit less in the morning fasted. I'm probably 215, 214 fasted in the AM, 218 in the middle of the day with my clothes on. My goal is gonna be to start losing some body fat. I'm gonna bring you guys along for that journey. The goal here is to educate, motivate myself, and help you guys see what it's like. But I wanna talk to you about now your calories. How should you adjust them? A lot of the discussions I have around calorie or macro adjustments are around what is the right numbers for us to have in regards to protein, carbs, and fats. Fats are essential, meaning if you don't take in enough fat, you're not gonna be producing hormones properly, okay? Nutritional fat is responsible for the cascade of hormones that our body creates. So if you are not taking in enough fat, you could have some issues, hormonally speaking, which could have a negative impact on things downstream like your testosterone, your metabolism. So when I say that 20 to 25% of your total calories should come from fat, that's called evidence-based research, okay? More of your calories can come from fat, but again, we're trying to walk that line where we're using the correct amount of, fat and carbohydrate and protein to accomplish our goal, which is to lose fat and not lose muscle, okay? So usually carbohydrates are gonna bear the biggest brunt of the change. However, carbohydrates are also very valuable. Why? They give us energy. And what do you do when you have energy? You move more. If your goal is to move 0 throughout the day, you probably don't need much carbohydrates. If your goal is to be a productive member of any type of exercise, some type of lifting, carbohydrates for me are invaluable. I feel fantastic. My performance is great. And so I definitely push the agenda of keeping carbohydrates in a fat loss approach. And that's what you'll see in the calculator. There's a very balanced approach there. So if you are stalled, and let's say you have a calorie range that you're at, let's just say for argument's sake, since you're 283 pounds, let's just say you're at 3,000 calories. I would probably drop your calories down to about 2,750, right? So I'd probably pull about 250 calories out of the diet. What would that look like? Well, if we pulled out 50 grams of carbohydrates, that would be 200 calories right there, right? And if we pulled out 10 grams of fat, that would be another 90 calories. That's 290 calories. So what I'd probably end up doing is pulling out 5 grams of fat. That'd only be 45 because a gram of fat is 9 calories. So if we drop out 50 carbs and 5 fat, we're at about 245 calories dropped. What I would also do is take a look at your total daily activity. At 283 pounds, you are going to burn a lot of calories just moving more. If you're not tracking your steps, simply taking your daily steps from say 3,000 to 5,000 could have a huge impact. And before everybody gets caught up in saying they need 10,000 steps, let me tell you, 10,000 steps is about 2 hours of walking. So if it's not a part of your regular routine, I wouldn't necessarily try to hit 10,000 steps, but what I would do is include a cardio plan, something that's gonna burn a few more calories than just steps. If you only have an hour, if you only have a half an hour, we wanna be a little bit more efficient with that time. So what I would do is I would typically have someone on a bicycle, a recumbent bike, or a stationary bike. My favorite for me personally is incline walking, elliptical, stairmaster, any type of activity that you enjoy, you can get on there and do that. Walking outside just doesn't burn that many calories. If you haven't seen the video, last year I tested with a heart rate monitor the calories burned using different types of walking, and the least calorie burn was just walking outside. I want to say it was somewhere around 200 calories an hour. Whereas on an incline treadmill with a vest, I want to say I got up to, I might be wrong, but here it was somewhere between 500 and 700 calories. So you can see how a half an hour session, you would burn, 2 to 3 times as many calories doing an activity. And ultimately that's where the adjustments can be made. You can't always just pull from your calories, okay? Especially if you're active. But what you can do almost without limit is move more. There is very low cost to just being more active, getting up and moving more, getting more steps throughout the day. There's a lot of cost associated with cardio that's very intense, but there's very low cost. And what do I mean by low cost? Getting up and going for a walk is not going to beat you up. It's not going to make you hungrier. In fact, in some cases, it might make you less hungry. There's also evidence that taking a walk after each meal will improve digestion, improve clarity, improve energy, right? Because you're getting that digestive system moving, you're breaking down that food for use. So what I would typically do is pull out a good amount from the carbs, a small amount from the fats, and then I would add a little bit more activity along the way. So hopefully you understand that this is how I would do it. Now, when would I do it? It depends on my deadline. If you have been tracking pretty well for a week, and by pretty well, I like to get averages. I don't like just one number on the scale, but I like to get averages each day. If you're not seeing a change in the scale, in your measurements, or noticing any visual changes, or perhaps how your clothes are fitting after 7 days, and you're pretty stable with the rest of your life as well, your sleep is good, your diet's been on point, that's when I would safely say, okay, we are at maintenance. We are at maintenance. It's just data. Don't take it personally. I've had clients say, Coach, I followed the plan perfectly and I didn't lose weight. What am I doing wrong? You did nothing wrong. You just aren't in a deficit. And so that's when we got to make the adjustment. So I always look at that as a positive. If you're not dropping weight, that is data. If you are dropping weight, that is data. So hopefully this helps you guys. Typically about a week. Sometimes I'll wait 2 if I think there are some compounding variables, but you want to wait about a week and then make an adjustment. And if you need help setting up a plan, set up a free consult with me and my team. I'll put a link below to that, prophysique.com. Sign up. No cost consultation to help you reach your goals. And we got another challenge starting here before long. So we are going to be here all year for you guys to help you out. And keep sending me your questions either in the Instagram direct message. My Instagram's right here, or you can leave comments on YouTube. I love to answer them there. I'm here for you guys. We got a lot to get through together. We're going to work on that scale. We're going to work on this physique, and I'm going to share the path with you. Talk to you tomorrow.